Hello indie game fans, I have more upcoming indie games to check out, with the usual Kickstarter titles which I know will have no problem being fully funded, and following the previous day's video covering the Heroes of Might and Magic like Heroes Hour, I do have some HOMM likes as well, all this and more coming up in this video. Let's begin with Paper Cut Mansion, an action roguelite with a very interesting papercraft aesthetic where you're exploring a mysterious mansion, fighting enemies, solving puzzles and so on. There does seem to be quite an interesting progression system through the use of cards, and even has multiple dimensions to play with, looking very interesting indeed. The developer of Last Time I Saw You has been an ardent supporter of the channel, so I do want to give them a special mention, where this hand-drawn narrative adventure is one of the most gorgeous that I have ever seen. It is set in Japan in the late 1980s, telling a coming-of-age story coupled together with a mysterious curse, but is not a horror game. It does give me some Weathering with You vibes, but with the aesthetic of older Ghibli movies, so if you love a great story, this is one to wishlist.
You blew up my family! You hacked my computer! You killed my best friend! And you thought you killed me! For 2 years, I've been biding my time! Hack blood energy rages through my veins. Hope you're ready, you mother-flippin' turd pile. Because I am the X-Slayer.
In addition to the sequel to Hypnospace Outlaw covered in my video on upcoming indie game sequels, another game in that same universe which was announced is Slayers X Terminal Aftermath Vengeance of the Slayer, one that is being made by an in-universe character named Zane, who is an edgelord bully and is not a great person, with this game being the manifestation of his personality in making a Doom-like boomer shooter. The Steam store page description even states that this game is quite awesome. Started making this in 1998 in high school with my friend, and now I'm 37, so I have life experience now, poking at the absurdity of the situation, but mechanically, it does look like a pretty decent FPS, so it has my attention. The Hello Neighbor series of games has become very popular, being a single-player stealth horror title where you're investigating the creepy neighbor next door, with of course its sequel being the title of interest here. Technically, this sequel looks to be very similar to the first, with the huge difference being that you are now able to roam the entire neighborhood, looking like it has some open world elements. The art direction is fantastic as well, looking like a Pixar movie or something, but with a creepier twist, where pre-orders are open now if you want to get beta access for release in December this year. An interesting looking turn-based strategy title is Stone's Keeper, one that reminds me just a little bit of Heroes of Might and Magic, especially in the base building and grid-based combat, but that is pretty much where the similarities end. Here, you have control of a floating castle, recruiting and upgrading your warriors as you fight against an undead scourge, where it does resemble more of a tactical RPG. I'm not completely sold on the animation or lack thereof, but something of interest nonetheless. While I usually put Kickstarter titles near the front of this video, I have full confidence that these will meet their target, with our first title of interest being Glory Hunters, a Zelda-style action-adventure game with a modern twist. Here, by doing quests, fighting enemies and solving puzzles in the world, you unlock achievements, which gives you glory points, which are then used to unlock other areas of the game, forming the main progression, which is quite clever to combine the new with the old. As you may be able to tell from the visuals, the developers are of course trying to evoke the Game Boy nostalgia and are even going a step further in making physical Game Boy cartridges, which is very cool in 2022. But you will also get a ROM and a PC version if you don't have access to such a handheld. It is very retro and nostalgic, so if it looks good, do check out the campaign. As mentioned, I do really like the HOMM series, especially the third entry, where I'm always on the lookout for more games like that since Ubisoft hasn't made a title from there in years, which is why the Dragoness Command of the Flame got my attention. I don't know whether to laugh or cry, but in modern indie game fashion, they are adding roguelite elements to this genre, which will be interesting to see, since I don't know how the city building aspect will work out, but I do love it when indie developers take wild swings at things, so here's hoping it turns out great. The game that has set some portion of the internet ablaze last week is Return to Monkey Island, the latest entry in one of the longest running point-and-click adventure game series that had its last entry in 2010, where the original creator Ron Gilbert is returning, picking up after the events of the second game, where if you grew up on these games will definitely be a title of interest.
Ron Gilbert told me he'd never make another Monkey Island unless...
playable right now, but Puff Pals is definitely one to watch, already raising over 8 times its target with plenty of stretch goals to go, so do check out the campaign and support if interested. I love my roguelites, where among the many platformers and action-adventure variants, it's difficult to find something fresh and interesting, which is why Backpack Hero is of interest. It is a roguelite RPG where the main mechanic is inventory Tetris, which on the surface doesn't seem that interesting, but has already impressed in its demos so far, leading to the success of its Kickstarter campaign. The big boys in the roguelite space on YouTube like Splattercat and Retromation have already made videos on this, where I do trust their taste in games, so do add my voice to that list, taking the #1 spot. For more roguelite titles, watch these videos and I will see you after the jump.